Are we ready?
Yes.
We are ready to go.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 7:03. Let it be known that Robert Nyes will not be in attendance tonight. He is in the field because he has sunshine. And so the mission statement of the Viroqua Area School District provides a quality education for all students that inspires continuous learning, positive relationships, curiosity, compassion, and an environment that welcomes diversity while developing respectful and responsible citizens. I'm going to start with this. So here we go. John Schneider, and great appreciation for your years of dedication to education, and especially for all of the lives that you have impacted over the years. John Schneider, 19 years. Best wishes on your retirement. May your new beginning be filled with joyful memories of your time spent contributing to the success of the Viroqua Area School District and all of the programs you have supported over the years. And we wish you only the best in this next journey of your life. And thank you for everything that you've done for us. Right. With that, we have committee reports. The compensation committee, Kim, would you like to give us a update on the compensation committee?
Sure. We discussed summer custodian pay, and that will be an agenda item, I believe. And we looking at the need for more custodians this summer because we just had another retirement of a custodian, and so we're short custodial staff. And based on the fact that we have summer school in this building, a floor project in the other building, there's going to be a need for more custodial help, and we need to increase that custodial pay from its current $10 an hour. We also discussed the Employee Educational Support Program, looking at how we can support staff members who want to move to the next level, whether that be a paraprofessional that wants to become a teacher, someone with a 4-year degree that wants to get teaching certification. There's a variety of new programs. It is not finalized yet, but we'll be continuing to look at that, and a dollar amount, possibly between 20 and 25,000 to support that program and support employees, especially in areas of need for ourselves. And we also had a closed session to discuss negotiations with the VEA over salary for next year. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Budget and Finance Chair Amanda, would you give a report on the Budget and Finance Committee meeting?
Sure. We had a quick meeting to go over revised 21-22 budget. Normal changes that we do every year around this time to true up between the two. Little things like from ESSER 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, moving around that funding. So just a quick update.
Thank you. Policy Chair Matt, I know we haven't met yet, but we do have a long list today. So
yeah, I will. I'm going to go over. We are tonight. We're passing some legal updates. And they'll be up for vote, I should say. And so the electoral process, policy 0142.1, pursuant to statutory changes, Wisconsin statutes, that this policy has been revised to meet the school board election notice requirements, essentially extending the incumbent time to file. If you miss the Tuesday deadline, you now have till Friday. So kind of goofy, but policy 0165.1, notice of meetings. The revisions to this policy reflect the statutory language on how meetings of the board or non-board committees that require public notice may be posted. Let's see, policy 1460 3160, 4160, physical examination. Revisions of this policy are made to improve the alignment with statute requirements. And the physical examination exception is clarified as it pertains to only those who use faith exclusively for medical care. And policy 2210, curriculum development. This policy is revised to reflect the requirements of the 2021 Wisconsin Act 30, which amends Wisconsin statutes to require instruction regarding the Holocaust and other genocides at least once between grades 5 through 8 and once in grades 9 through 12. And that will begin with the 22-23 school year. Policy 2414, human growth and development. This policy is revised to include the requirements of 2021 Wisconsin Act 90, which requires that human growth and development instruction regarding the right to drop off a newborn child to various healthcare locations. Policy 5200 on attendance. This policy has been revised to include private school and home-based education students attending the district under part-time enrollment provisions with the same excused absence as regular full-time school students for serving as an election day official. Policy 5410, promotion, placement, and retention. In accordance with the state statute, specific criteria for promotion from 4th to 5th grade and from 8th to 9th grade are listed, along with the option for additional criteria specified by the district. And policy 6114, cost principles, spending federal funds. This policy has been revised to provide greater detail and allowability guidance for districts regarding the expenditure of federal funds. And there's been a significant increase in the funding for school districts, part of the American Rescue Plan and for ESSER 3 funds. Greater specificity has been requested by the program reviewers and auditors. Policy 6146, post-issuance tax exempt bond compliance. This policy has been revised to meet federal law with regard to the issuance of tax exempt obligations and other obligations eligible for tax credits. And policy 8450, control of casual contact communicable diseases. And this policy has been revised to describe a procedure to be followed in the event an initial or isolated communicable disease is identified in a child in the school setting. Those are going to be up tonight. And then the rest, everyone should have received. Those are the policies for the first reading. We haven't had our meeting on that yet. We did postpone that. We'll have that before the June 20th meeting. And so then any questions and anything will come out of that. And then we'll put those up for vote on our next June 20th meeting. So.
There's also some information later on in the meeting.
Mhm.
So if somebody does have a question, perhaps they could bring it up then, if that's okay. with you. All right, thank you very much. The next item is the consent agenda, item number 5, which includes approval of the agenda, proof of public notice, the April meeting minutes, voucher summary 1 in the amount of $222,398.87, resignations, which is Jacob Hubach. Hipsch. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Special ed teacher, 1 semester. Kristen Potter, Title I reading interventionist for 1 year. We do not have any retirements. We do not have any appointments. The 2022-23 open enrollment applications, the 22-23 WIAA affiliation, and the revised policies per state statute.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? With that, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is Spotlight on Education. We would like to thank the senior board reps. None of them could be here tonight because we've had rescheduling of all of the spring activities because we had all that rain. But we just want to bring it to everyone's attention and how much we really appreciate the seniors that participated this year, and that's Alyssa Arch, Cami Lear, Camden Oliver, and Maddie Porter. They were marvelous reps and they just did great work with us this year, and we wish them only the best in their future endeavors. And now we have the grade 4 Heritage Projects Madison trip. So we have Marie and Kim here, and our students are Madeline, Ruby, and Oliver. So welcome.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind, we're old and our hearing's not fantastic. I'm just teasing. We're not that old and our hearing's just fine. But if you don't mind when you speak, if you could speak really loudly because you're also being recorded.
So the microphone is actually
Right
above
there.
me right here.
And you don't have to look up at it. And if you turn around this way as well, because you're going to be on TV.
Is that an okay spot?
That is perfect. Wherever you're comfortable, my friend.
The fourth grade students went to Madison on Wednesday, May 11th. We rode in a coach bus and it was comfortable. We went to the Forest Hill Cemetery, the Historical Museum, the Veterans Museum, and the State Capitol. At Forest Hill Cemetery, we saw the Vilas family graves and the graves of many more famous people. We also saw effigy mounds of a goose, a panther, and a moose. There was an area where Union soldiers were buried. We learned about a lady who took care of Confederate graves. She called them her boys and was buried next to them. At the Wisconsin Historical Museum, we saw a fake hollow mammoth tooth, a fake lead mine, a butterfat tester, and an old vacuum cleaner where you had to pull a string to make it work. We also saw a replica of an Astalon house. Astalon is one of Wisconsin's most important archaeological Indian sites. That era of Native people, the Mississippians, made their houses out of sticks and mud. At the Veterans Museum, we saw an Army helicopter from the Vietnam War, lots of weapons, and realistic displays and people. There was a cannon that was stolen from the South during the Civil War. Last, we went to the State Capitol building. We went to a lot of parts of the Capitol, including the Rotunda, the Wisconsin Supreme Court room, the Senate, the Assembly, and the observation deck. We got to practice voting on a new state bird. There were a lot of skylights to let in light and a lot of paintings that symbolized different things. One of the paintings had a hidden soldier that was discovered when the painting was cleaned. My favorite part of the Capitol was the observation deck. We got to look down at Madison and saw Lake Mendota and Lake Monroe. My favorite part of the trip was seeing the Capitol and eating lunch in front of it. The fourth graders would like to thank the tour guides, the chaperones and teachers, and the school for letting us take this trip.
Does anyone have any questions for Oliver?
How was the weather the day that you went to Madison?
Well, it was pretty hot too.
Lucky then, because we've got some cold days and rainy days, so that's good.
Did you get to meet any of the representatives? Did anybody come out and have their picture taken with you?
No.
No? Okay. Were there any surprises there? Anything that you didn't expect?
I didn't really expect going up on the observation deck and then just seeing Madison so high up.
That's wonderful. You did a fantastic job presenting. Thank you so much. Do you think we should let other students go? Do you think so? Maybe we should do it again next year for the fourth graders. Thank you very much. And who is going to be speaking next?
We're gonna go with Maddie first, correct, Maddie? In your Circus world? Do you want me to push, from ready to push, or? I'm not as familiar with the slideshow.
Slideshow right there, yep. There you go.
So if you don't mind introducing yourself first, if that's okay, Maddie.
My name's Madeline Schwartz. Madeline Schwartz.
Perfect.
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the greatest show on earth. The circus is about to begin. Well, not exactly, but let me tell you the place where you can see the circus come to life. My name is Madeline Schwartz, and for my fourth grade Heritage Fair presentation, I chose the Circus World Museum. The Circus World Museum is a complex located in Viroqua, Wisconsin, devoted to circus-related history. It is recognized all over the world, located on 64 acres, and has the largest circus wagon collection, with over 260 wagons. Circus World Museum was originally founded in 1954 by John M. Kelly and the Goldmark family. They felt it was important to preserve the history of the circus. It officially opened to the public on July 1st, 1959. This is a picture of the Circus World Museum when it first opened. At that time, there was only 2 buildings and 6 wagons. Now there's over 30 buildings and over 260 wagons. There are a lot of reasons to visit the Circus World Museum. Circus exhibits, wagon tours, Kids World Circus, animals, and the Big Top Circus are just a few. In the spring and fall, you can visit the museum on weekdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The cost is $9.99 for adults, $7.99 for senior citizens, $4.99 for children ages 5 to 12, and free for children under 5. In the summer, you can visit the museum every day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It is a little more expensive in the summer because there are live shows and animals. Adults are $19.99, senior citizens are $17.99, children ages 5 to 12 are $13.99, and children under 5 are still free. You may be wondering why Circus World Museum is important to Wisconsin. Did you know that over 100 different circuses originated in Wisconsin? Circus World Museum is considered a National Historic Landmark. It's a way to preserve circus history as it transitions from circus trains to the Big Top. Here are some of the posters from different Wisconsin circuses. Now it's deciding what to do for my Heritage Fair presentation. The Circus World Museum caught my attention because I recently started performing Area 6 at the Viroqua Circus. This is something circus performers usually perform in the Big Top shows. There's a number of special events at Circus World Museum, including Military Service Day, Baraboo's Big Top Parade, Circus World Anniversary Days, Circus World Classic Car Show, and Elephant Watermelon Parade, which would probably be my favorite. Here is a video that highlights some of the fun things you might see at Circus World. I hope you enjoyed my presentation at Circus World Museum. Any questions?
Have you been? Did you attend Circus World? No. Where do you do your acrobatics on the silks?
At Viroqua Circus.
Where is that?
It's in the old library.
Oh, okay. So right here in Viroqua. Interesting. Do they have classes all summer?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you'll go to the circus this summer.
What?
Do you think you'll go see the Circus World this summer?
Maybe.
Well, thank you very much, Maddie. And the next person is Ruby.
I am Ruby Pointner, and did you know that my great granddad was on the Preservation Committee founding member? Who was the first pastor? The first pastor was Pastor Steve. On July 1st, 1855, he became pastor. Where was the first church? The first church was in Westby, Wisconsin, in a local barn in Westby, Wisconsin. Later, they built a church in West. When did it burn down? It burned down on Easter Sunday at 9 p.m. Pastor Rev. Halverson saved the painting that is on the altar today. The altar painting. The painting is named Juan. Dwayne painted the altar. It was finished in 1891. Where is the Country Greenbury Church located? It is about 10 minutes north of Viroqua in Westby, Wisconsin. They do not have seats for the church choir, but the altar is where the painting is, and the church is organ pipes. And the pews are right here, and the stained glass windows are over there too, and the pulpit is right there. And the steeple bell is outside, and the door is at the west behind. All about the architect. The architects were Parkinson and Douglas. He is buried in the Country Greenbury Cemetery. Greenbury Cemetery. Greenbury Cemetery. The cemetery is about 13 acres in size next to the Country Greenbury Church. Fun facts. My great-granddad was on the Preservation Committee founding member board. My mom and dad were married there, and my sister was baptized there. History. It was the first church in the Southwest. It was the first church in Burning County. It went down in 1909. Conclusion. Why is it important to Wisconsin? It is important to Wisconsin because it was the first Lutheran church in Southwest Wisconsin. Why is it important to me? It is important to me because my great-granddad was on the Preservation Committee founding member. Why should you visit there? You should visit there because it has lots of history. So next time you go drive through Westby, look off to the right and you will see the Country Greenbury Church. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
We'd like to thank the three of you for coming. It's a beautiful night, and I'm sure that you were thinking maybe you wanted to do something fun outside, but instead you presented to us, and thank you for sharing the wealth of information that you gave to us, and we really appreciate the hard work that you do every day in school. So we hope you have a wonderful summer as well, and you're more than welcome to stay, but if you would rather not, that's okay too. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Awesome job.
And we'd also like to thank your teachers because they do a fabulous job and they work very hard to make sure that you can learn as much great information out there as possible every year. So thank you for attending today as well. The welcome visitors, do we have any public comments? No? Okay. The next item are the action items under item 8, voucher summary. The voucher summary is in the amount of voucher summary 2, which is in the amount of $255,565.19.
I move to approve the voucher summary 2 in that amount.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain. The next item is 8B, and that is the 2021-22 budget adjustments.
I move to approve the 21-22 budget adjustments.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Thank you, Mike, for presenting all of that to us. It sounds like it's going to be a very interesting year with all of the funding and moving around and what the restrictions are going to be in some of the funding as well. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Elementary playground bids, we are going to table this item. We're waiting for some other bid information, so we're going to table that for next month. The summer custodial pay is the next item.
I move to approve the summer custodian pay to $12 an hour for first year custodians and $13 for second as recommended by the compensation committee.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Information and discussion number 9 is next. We have a first reading of the following policies, and there are many. As Matt said, the committee will meet later on this month or in June. 2 questions that I would have for the committee is policy 152, which is officers, and it says that they have to be present. And I don't know the definition of present any longer. Because is present Zoom? Is it physically present? Is it on the phone? Is it a phone conference present? So that would be
We'll discuss that one.
Good question.
a
Great question.
question that I had, because it's different than
Question
what
you wouldn't question a little while ago, but yep.
now I don't know what present means exactly. And then under policy 3122.0 and 4122.01, I'm sorry. It says drug-free, and with that, I just went through this at Western Technical College, and we have some employees who are Native and Indigenous, and with that, part of their religious belief is tobacco and burning of some incense, and they have it with them at all times, and according to this policy, they would be going against school policy. And so I'm wondering what we can do in order to make it so that that isn't the case. Something I just learned that I never knew. So those are the 2 questions that I have. Does anyone else have anything to give to Matt before the policy?
Bless you.
Allergies, sorry.
Everyone has them. Marina, did you have any questions of any of those policies?
No questions.
All right. Did you want to add anything else, Tom, or is that?
No, I think, again, once the committee has a chance to get at, there's, some that there will be some choices again that we really, the board will have to decide how you want to adjust those. Yep, where does it fit? And we'll go from there.
Thank you. The next item is the 22-23 preliminary budget. Mike, you want to present some more information?
Just in that, we've had no real changes externally, as far as our revenue limits or anything like that. We are working on quite a bit of stuff internally, both staffing wise, primarily staffing wise, and where we're at with any wage increases we are able to give this year. Last month, we approved a preliminary budget that'll be updated again for an additional approval in June, at the June meeting.
And if anyone has any questions about the budget, they can contact Mike and he will be more than happy to answer them. Bigly Pool update, Tom, Mike, we're so excited.
I've got to let Mike talk about this now. I've made him talk about it when it was a tough conversation, so we're gonna give him this one now.
This afternoon, I got to meet for the first time. It was her first day of working for the YMCA, our local pool manager. Her name is Sally Bowman. She's very experienced with the YMCA. I think she's energetic and seemed very personal in the short period of time that I got to meet her today. I'm very excited to get started. She will be working out of an office down at the pool. And actually the first order of business is starting to hire staff. So they have some applications that she's going to be reaching out to those people soon and get going on that. Likewise, they also did have a lifeguard class here Sunday. I think it's next Sunday, and then it's either sometime during the week of the Memorial Day. I don't think it's Memorial Day Sunday. A lifeguard class to certify lifeguards and recertify lifeguards. Both that will be working at our facility, but they may also be working elsewhere. There's another one going to be in Westby. And so they're very confident that they're going to be able to staff our pool in short order. And I think we might have unofficially planned our first school event, which would be the last day of school. The middle school students are hopefully going to have an open swim day if that works. With John requested, and we put it out there. I said I can't promise, but it sounds like everything's good. They did say it was a little chilly, so we'll have to see if we need to bump the degrees up a little bit. But it's sitting at about 78 right now, so it looks beautiful. It's ready to go. Yes.
Round of applause. If someone has questions, is there a telephone number in which?
So right now it still has my number on the
Okay.
webpage with a link to some of the YMCA information. As soon as I get a number from Sally, it will be changed.
Okay.
She can answer the question.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest issue is right now I ask someone else. I forward the questions on, which is fine. But I mean, we'll get to that point where she can answer the questions.
And in case anyone doesn't know, the YMCA is operating the pool. The school district is not operating the pool. So that's why all questions would go to them directly.
Anecdotally, there's scuttle or communication out that the YMCA has bought the pool.
Oh,
Not that I'm aware of. No,
I have,
it's not.
I heard a couple comments.
No, that would be an interesting concept, but no, that is not how that happened.
But if anybody's interested.
There's a small for sale.
Come on, Mike.
No, it's great. I mean, it really is.
It isn't. It's an awesome time now.
and I also did see that there's some programming now, and there's some swim classes, and there's some public swim times that were on the website. So there is some information now on the website about it.
And I think it's worth noting that they did that based on their experience and what they know. But if that's not working for our community, I fully expect our community needs to reach out and let them know, no, we need lap swim at this time or whatever. And then they'll weigh that because they had to start someplace.
Sure.
And it's what they know. So I want our community to be involved in this. It's still a community pool.
Right.
So any feedback will go to, her first name is Sally.
Sally.
Sally will be the contact. All right, thank you. Donations over $250. We have a total amount of $5,250. $750 is from Valley Stewardship Network. Roger Hansen, Cooley Region Audubon Society. Sylvia and Harry Peterson, Elizabeth Safani for binoculars for the summer school outdoor adventures class. 4,000.
Both of the instructors are right here.
It's
Thank you
very,
for soliciting those
it's
things.
very exciting.
Amazing.
That sounds fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
and
was
before that
reading about
class,
the
our
class.
goal would be every kid would have a
Yep.
binocular in
Yes.
the field. So
Has that target been met? That- How far is that target from being met? Do you know?
we also have a check from the Viroqua Lions Club for $400 that I was just presented.
Is that for binoculars? So how far away is that from being met?
think between I'll say about 500 away.
Okay,
We're
Awesome.
waiting to hear about a couple of things.
okay. Marvelous.
Yes, it's going to be a great opportunity for our students.
Thank you very much for initiating that wonderful program for our kids. We also have $4,500 from S&S Cycle for 24 Strider bikes, helmets, and 1 adult Strider bike with assembly. Pat, I saw a picture of you.
That's
That's not here.
Madison, yeah.
He's right on here. I saw a picture on a bike.
So they came, S&S Cycles came for the unveiling. And so I was down there, it was an amazing day. And then Pat did get on a bike and rode it around with the kids, and it was just amazing. So if you have not seen, the Strider bikes are the bikes that are, they don't have a chain. Some of them have pedals you can add, but it's really about a balance and getting kids to understand how to balance. And obviously S&S Cycles has a huge interest in promoting bicycle usage and two-wheel operation in general. And so it was a great opportunity and a partnership, and we really appreciate that great donation. So if you haven't seen pictures yet, go on Facebook. They're there. The excitement, the energy in the room was just outstanding in general. The kids, anytime anything is new is really fun. But this was really awesome. And then they got to ride around in a different kind of a course that was set up for them, and it was very cool. So we thank S&S Cycle for that awesome partnership.
So the board would like to thank all of the donors in our community. We live in such a philanthropic area, and we're very fortunate to have the donations that we have. So thank you, and I hope our students enjoy all of these great gifts. The next item is the district administrator report.
So we've got a lot of great news to talk about. First of all, our high school was recognized by U.S. News as a top school, not only in the state of Wisconsin. We are the top 25 in the state of Wisconsin and in the nation. That's outstanding to be able to get that and receive that award year after year. We did jump, I believe, Jason, it was 15 spots this year. So we did improve 15 ahead of 15 other high schools in the state. And again, that's a shout out to everybody from our pre-K program and our 4K program all the way up to be able to provide that kind of a foundation so that we can have excellent work done at the high school too. So that's that's a win for our entire staff as far as I'm concerned. And we are really, really, truly appreciative of all the support there. So, yes.
I think that deserves a round of applause. That's great. Jason, I don't know how you can congratulate everyone from the board, but please share how excited we are for the great work that they're doing.
Right. The next piece is another great one. So we had a scholarship night, and I know Jason probably is going to talk a little bit about this, but I'm going to steal a little bit of that spotlight. I apologize, Jason. It's unbelievable the amount of funding that we not only were able to announce at the honors program, which was over $140,000 for this year's senior class. We did have all of the following are new, and I'm going to make note of everything, and I think they need a public shout out for this. So we're going to go through the Dwayne and Hoff Memorial Scholarship. They gave away 2 scholarships at $500, and that's provided by Dwayne's wife, Dana, his son, Dean Hoff, and sister-in-law, Ardith Hoff. So thank you for that. Century 21 affiliated had a new scholarship of $1,000 provided by Michelle Williams of Viroqua, Century 21. Tyler and Katie Deaver gave a $500 scholarship provided by siblings of Dr. Katie Weaver, who was a part of VHS class of 2007, and Tyler Deaver, who was a part of class of 2011. The Rod and Sherry Getter Memorial Scholarship of $700 provided by Mary Radin. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Radent, I apologize. And Amy Burt and David Tubb via the Viroqua Area Foundation. Vernon Memorial Healthcare provided a new scholarship of $1,000. The STEM Scholar Athlete was a $2,000 scholarship provided by Eric Salverson, who was part of the class of 1998. The John and Grace Dyson Foundation Scholarship, or John and Grace Dyson Scholarship, which we talked about last month as well, for $10,000 and $5,000 respectively. And that is just the new this year scholarships for this class, which again, when you're talking about a percentage increase, we started and we did actually, when that started, we accidentally stumbled upon some information about 10 years ago. Jason, what were those numbers? I can't remember off the top of my head.
10 years ago, there was $32,000 given out.
And again, we gave out over $140,000 in local scholarships to this year's senior class, coupled with all of the funding provided through scholarships through the universities that was already given out at a different time. I believe we're looking at over $1 million in just this 1 year scholarship, which is just outstanding to think about. That's amazing. So the next piece is facilities planning update. So as you guys are aware, we're going to do a quick recap over what we've done to this point. So the board hired HSR and Myron to do a facilities planning process to determine future needs of the district. Part of that process was to provide multiple opportunities for feedback from our not only community, but our staff. So that was a overwhelming message that we heard the last time that we tried to do a facilities planning process, and including our staff. So our staff have had 3 opportunities to provide feedback on that process in general. So one was an individual survey before we even threw out any type of drawings, anything, they were able to provide what needs that they felt we had within the district. They also had the opportunity to sit down in a meeting with Myron and HSR that administration was not part of. So they could really say things about what their thoughts were within our facilities. The third opportunity was post, just like the community input sessions. Right before we had the community input sessions, we had a staff input session, which was presented with the exact same information as our community input session, and allowed our staff to do the dot activity, just like the community was able to do that night and the morning after that. We've then allowed, again, the community 3 different opportunities to provide input. One was in the evening of the 19th, and then the morning of the 20th. And then there was a virtual session the evening of the 19th as well, so that we could hit every cross section. So we're at the point now where surveys have been printed and are being sent out as we speak. You may have received them already. And so that is truly exciting. Again, I want to reiterate, just as these things come up, there will be questions, and there have been questions. There will be questions to the board. The board has not decided to go to referendum in the fall or the spring or at all. The reason for this survey is to help the board to understand that the needs the community recognizes and are willing to support. And again, no decisions have been made at all. And so when we talk about these preliminary drafts that we have that we have online, that's exactly what they are. They are a starting point to get us to lead us through the conversation, but they are in no way set or finalized. And so we do have a lot of questions about details and where things are going to be. We're not at that point. We are really truly at the point of what does the community prioritize as far as our needs, and what are they willing to support? And then the board will make that decision on what that will look like, whether there will be a question or not, and if so, what that question will say. And so we are really excited about where we are in that process. And again, essentially, if the board asks a question, it will be the question that the community wants the board to ask, which is why the groups that we are working with are very successful when they do go to referendum. And so again, very excited about that process. Once we know more, so our survey results, our surveys are due back to school perceptions by the 3rd of June. And then we will have a board meeting, and I don't remember if we finalized that workshop date yet. But we will have a workshop where the board will get those results separate from a board meeting, just because it's going to take longer and we don't want to have our board meetings extended out quite that far. So once we have that information, we will again have that meeting with the board in June, and then you guys can take it from there. So again, a very exciting opportunity and exciting process. I do feel that these two groups are listening in a way that I don't have experience with in my previous processes like this. This has been great. Early Learning Center update. We are meeting with HSR and Myron this week, Wednesday, to look at some mock-up drawings, go over a budget, and then also a timeline for that project. So I don't have anything official to update with you with, other than we believe work can get started in August, and it's kind of by design a little bit in the fact that most of these school projects that are already planned for the majority of the summer at this point for most of the construction management companies. And then hopefully that we will be done with everything prior to the end of the calendar year. I think that that's a realistic timeline with everything as far as the construction side goes. We are not confident on when things come in right now. Let's put it that way. We had the pool as the example. We can have hopes and dreams on when things are going to come in, and ultimately they do not matter with supply and demand chains right now. So that's what we can say is we're confident in that particular loose timeline at this point in time. Any questions on anything within my report? Anything, Marina? Okay. All right.
The only thing that I would ask is I have been hearing some questions about the early learning center as far as ages, and people are looking, for childcare into the future. And so as soon as we do know something more specific, I'm hopeful we will get that out there.
Absolutely.
And what it's actually going to look like.
Yep.
People have asked how many students, and I know we don't have those answers yet.
Sure.
So as soon as we do, they will be shared.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you. Anything else, John?
Not that I can think of. Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Right. So the board report. So as far as the legislative update, admin report.
I mean, they might not. You guys want out of it tonight? Is that how? I gave rolling. Keep rolling. I'm not doing that. I'm so sorry, Jason. They're exciting. It's exciting news.
Riley's with us virtually tonight.
Oh, he's with us virtually.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that, Riley. You want to unmute yourself?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, we are 3.5 weeks away from the start of summer school. Classrooms that will be utilized and the teachers that will utilize them have been finalized, and they've been informed of their classroom. The average class size in the morning sessions is 19, and the average class size in the afternoon is 23. Class schedules were sent home to families last Friday. Sports Performance Camp enrollees are receiving 2 additional documents that they need to be completed before students can participate. The 2 documents came from VMH. Also, just a note about the Sports Performance Camp. Initially, the 2 sessions were going to be broken down to be session 1, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. Session 2, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. But because of enrollment numbers, we had to shift the 7th grade into the 2nd session just to balance the numbers out. So the first session is now just 4th, 5th, and 6th. I've been finding subs for teachers that already know when they need time off. And Mrs. Schneider and I will be working towards finalizing the high school numbers over the next couple weeks. Are there any questions?
Different.
Is he finished?
Is there any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear that last part. Riley, do you know if they're offering any type of free physicals for students? Any, if VMH is, or, the Hirsch Clinic or Gunderson?
Not heard that.
I have not heard that, but we can look into it.
Okay, I know in the past, this is before COVID, everything is before COVID, but they used to do that. And I don't know if they do or not. I'm wondering if those 2 documents that you're requiring have something to do with physicals.
One is a waiver form, because again, we're working with VMH and it's a dual entity, almost like a dual taught course. So
Okay. If you don't mind, if someone could explore that option, that would save a lot of money for our families. They used to do it with fall sports, and they would do it over the summer.
Typically, that would be through the athletic director, and so we'll ask Joe if
Okay.
he's heard anything from them.
I didn't know if any of the summer programs required that or not.
I will have Joe reach out though.
Okay.
It's a great question.
And then there was a program through a dental, I don't know if it was an office or if it was through that dental bus that goes through with mouth guards and fitting for mouth guards. That was also a free service in the summer.
For a few years.
No,
Not
we haven't
sure.
had that for a number of years.
But that's another
Back in the
Joe.
day,
Yep.
how about back in the day?
Back in the day, huh?
That was offered. I don't
Yeah,
know
we
if
can
some-
look into it, and it's probably more of an Eric question at this point anyway, because Joe's not gonna have the contact, so
Okay,
we'll look into it.
sorry about that, Riley.
At Scenic Bluffs, Angie.
What?
We do that at Scenic Bluffs for I think it's like $20 if the family can afford it.
Okay.
The physicals.
Was that physicals or mouth guards?
Both.
Dental, both?
Oh, okay. Good
Okay.
to know.
All right. So Riley, I'm sorry to ask questions that didn't have anything to do with your area.
No problem.
It sounds like numbers are good. What you're telling us.
Yeah, and for elementary, middle school, it's officially at 378, and that's for a while I thought it was around an 19% increase, but it's more around closer to 21. And Mrs. Schneider and I will be getting those high school numbers here within the next couple weeks.
It's great. It's marvelous. Thank you. Well, I'm guessing Jason will report on this later, but I know there were some numbers shared for students also that were different. Anybody else have any questions for Riley? No? So thank you. You're going to have a fun and active summer. Enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
You got 3.5 weeks of quiet, Riley.
End of year plans. Is someone going to present hats?
Well, the report is included.
Okay.
So you guys can look that over.
Okay.
If you have any questions, it's kind of typical.
Sure.
We talk, he talks about the end of the year assessments, and a couple of the field trips, including the one that was presented on tonight. And there are a lot of great opportunities that we are finally able to provide to our kiddos again. And that's incredibly exciting. And I think there's even an excitement with the teachers that usually it's not that they dread some of these trips, but it's definitely there's an excitement that we get to do these again, which is awesome. And so I will mention we did the title family night, game night last week. And we had over 100 people here in the buildings again, and that energy was awesome. I was only there for a few minutes as my wife decided that she needed to bring she needed me to take my 3-year-old home, and so it was my experience with a screaming child as I was walking out was not as good, but that's okay. That's okay. He wanted to stay, and he needed a break, but it was great. And so, yeah, I think that again, end of the year piece is there will be a school-wide carnival again this year, which was awesome last year, and all hands on deck. And I don't know if the dunk tank's going to be back, but I think that's a great opportunity for Pat to volunteer again, to be the one getting dunked.
No, you might want to share that.
I think I might be busy during that time. I don't know. I might be busy. I'm not sure.
It might be an opportunity.
I think I have meetings. I think I need to wear nice clothes.
John, would you like to present the end of year plans as well as co-curricular update?
Yeah, sure.
And this is his last presentation. I'm just saying, the board.
Well, and this was hard to write because we had this is Liam, our student council advisor, and I have been talking, and then Troy and Andrea with PBS as well, some all school activities, and we kind of pared back just to kind of be safe a little bit, and we're going to do it more like grade level instead of all school. So Deanna and I have several different plans to try to get into the pool, get outside, and try to really do something fun, but by grade level, just to try to be sensitive and safe, so to speak. So yeah, and I couldn't write anything because nothing's nailed down yet. We have no plans right now. We have many emails with a lot of ideas, but they're all pretty standard. And typically they're things what students ask for: some extra recess, some snacks, some ice cream things or something, and we'll let student council pick whatever that is. We don't know, but to try to get back into the pool and have several alternative activities going on simultaneously. So the non-swimmers have a place to be in that they like as well. Be in the library or outside playing kickball or whatever. And that's basically it. So.
Have the co-curriculars, have they had an opportunity to participate this spring, or has everything been rained out?
Yeah, I was going to wait to talk about that, but I'll say something about it right now. We really have track, and then kind of sort of baseball and softball. So who you talk to and how you look at it. But interesting, some of these names will be familiar to some of you, but our 4x1 broke a school record. Alana Christensen, Anya Leonard, Elias Schwem, and Brenna Rogers. So Andy Rogers was a hockey player, if you know Andy and his daughter. And they just barely beat it. But the previous record was from 1994 with Don McClure, Don Kraus, Corey Carey, and Amber Fortney. So some of you will recognize some of those names. So that's pretty exciting. It's always pretty cool when a school record is broken. So
awesome.
So yeah, so they're getting some. We've had some cooperative weather, so good things are happening for the teams, and Joe's probably taking a breather here. He's probably busier than ever, but I think a little rescheduling.
Yep.
Break. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, but just one other comment. So hopefully, when we're wrapping up here with next year's scheduling and a next year calendar of events for specific to the middle school, when I exit sometime in June, I've talked to Tom about this, and we're hoping, and we're on track for it all, to have everything in place and ready for Mr. Christensen to come in. So we have his nameplate ready. We basically are written. So he should walk in and just kind of not have to worry about what's unfinished and where do I go from here. So hopefully everything is ready to launch for next year. I mean the next year meetings and all that stuff is, that's in the future. So we're hoping everything is in place and intact and ready for him. So
Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Jason?
Yeah, so probably the only numbers that are down are our summer school remediation numbers will probably be down this year.
That is a good, sorry, Riley.
Glad their other ones are up, but ours are likely gonna be down. We did have prom on the 23rd. Prom numbers were very much up. This was the first year, I think, in 3 years that all 4 grades were able to come and visitors were able to come. So I think there was over 300 students there, which is amazing considering we only have about 330 in the high school. But there was a lot of visitor forms to fill out. I've forgotten over the last couple of years how many visitor forms you have to do. And our date was different than most of our other local schools' dates. So we had a lot of visitors that came. We were on the early end compared to a lot of other schools. So that was a great time out at the fairgrounds. Organizers, parents, chaperones all did a great job helping that out, especially with such a large turnout. As Tom mentioned, the honors program on May 4th. And I think what people don't realize about the honors program, in many ways in the high school office, graduation is a breeze after the honors program. The amount of organization and the amount of planning and everything that goes into to run a hour-and-a-half or 2-hour honors program, especially between Jenny, Chris, and all the donors and recipients, and to do all that planning. There's an amazing amount of planning that goes into that, being a very successful night and a very smooth night. To go as quickly through things as we did in that type of fashion. It's pretty clockwork, including we started off the night with the NHS induction ceremony too, so that the younger students get to witness all that goes on too. So end of the year plans, similar. We and it kind of goes with seems like everything's an end of the year plan. We are working on, we've not had a senior trip in 3 years. So they're working on Friday, doing a senior trip. It was going to be last Friday, but it was short on subs. The weather wasn't going to be that great anyway. So we postponed it to this Friday. And so we were actually joking. I joked with the admin team today that that math problem that you never thought you had to do about the 2 trains. We kind of were doing that today because we were trying to figure out if a bus leaves Devil's Lake to get to Viroqua High School, what time will it intersect the bus leaving Viroqua High School to get to Royal to play baseball? Because we would like to interconnect those so that the senior baseball players can switch buses. So we're thinking around Lafarge around 2:30, but we're still kind of working through that one. So that problem that you never thought would actually occur, and as everybody's had it.
Definitely sounds like a word problem from high school.
We were trying to piece it together because then that can save us a potential van going out or some additional staffing. So, but we were planning that last day of school, and it was interesting last year with a lot of the COVID plans. We try to chunk out our last day of school so every class can meet, so you can have that final. But then we did about an hour-and-a-half activity time. Last year we did rue ball outside, which the students realized rue ball in the wind and such more challenging than rue ball in the gym type of thing. So yes, and it was a little warm that day. So we're still putting together plans. Student council actually is meeting tomorrow to try to finalize what activities we can do and to do something fun and just enjoyable at the same time, and also coordinate it. I sent Pat and John an email today saying, okay, where are you going to be outside? What can we have? What can we not have? Type of thing. So, but trying to do those type of things to try to coordinate. Graduation's coming up on the 28th at this point at 1:30 outdoors. We're going to probably kick a message out to the seniors, because if it's raining at 1:30 on the 28th outdoors, we will try to figure out, we'll try to call it a couple of days ahead of time to try to figure out, okay, can we move it a couple hours earlier if we need to? We're not going to move it later because grad parties, obviously, or if we need to move it indoors. What we did last year, which actually worked fairly well as far as prepping, is we can't fit the entire stage that we used to have on the track because there would be no place for the kids. And you can't put the stage on the field because the field is crowned and the stage is in parts. So it doesn't work real well. So we actually, to prep for that and get prepared in case we have bad weather, we actually set up half the stage outside and half the stage inside, which then also works fairly well for Memorial Day if they have to move Memorial Day inside. So we try to coordinate all those things and try to get prepared. I think overwhelmingly, again, it's a COVID thing that kind of tripped it, but I think overwhelmingly a lot of people prefer the outdoor. It does create a lot more weather watching and wonderful things along those sense. But and even like part of it, we choose early afternoon, which is, yes, it's more the heat part of the day. But if you go like 9:30 in the morning, the sun is coming right into the bleachers too, which the first year we did that, that's how we did it, but it was also in July and going to be like 95 that day. So we did go earlier that day and went earlier than Westby. I think it was like 2 hours later, and theirs had to be just a beast because it was warm enough going home about the time theirs was starting. So, but all those plans in place. Co-curricular, like you mentioned, my board reps, they, similar to Robert, they're out in fields tonight. One of them's on a softball field, one's in a baseball field, because we have been able to reschedule. Joe's done a great job. He's not really relaxing yet. I think he told me today, I think he had almost 30 officials checks go out last week, because of the amount of events that we've had go through and different things. But it's been great to at least pick up. We haven't been able to get in all sports everything we wanted to get caught up. And you just know it's a bad spring when you even have to cancel an indoor track meet because you can't get to it type of situation. So, but we've been able to do it. Kids have been able to have opportunities. Boys tennis won conference for the third year in a row. Boys baseball just got the #1 seed in their bracket this weekend. And I think their first home game, I think, is on the 31st of May. Track meet, the teams competed, and if nothing else, we concluded the track meet well because the boys won the 4x4, which if you've been to track, that is the last event of the event. So we, including a number of freshman boys on that team. So it was a close finish at the end. So it was a great way to conclude that conference meet, and which is, if you've ever been to conference track, it's a long day because they kind of spread out the field and the track events part of it. So, so they've been able to have a great deal of success and get things rescheduled. And I told Joe at one point, it might have been easier for him if we had a foot of snow on the ground compared to trying to figure out from day to day, okay, it's 40 and with 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, probably can't do this, type of thing. And then have transportation, different things factored into it too. So, but the kids have been great and then been able to get out and be active. So that's good, unless Tom has something else he wants to add to mine. Are you good?
I think I took all the points I wanted to earlier, so I think I'm okay.
Well, hopefully we'll even have more scholarships next year. Working on a couple right now, so we'll see if they follow.
And it's been great, and I've had compliments to Angie Foundation. I've had numerous families, especially some of the newer ones, talked about how great it is to work with the foundation.
Yep.
Some have even, I had a number approached me that said, because I think it was like their child or a relative that was doing it, but they were presenting it. And they're like, no, my whatever relationship wanted to get back to the school because this is where they graduated from.
Yeah.
Just some great stories from an individual standpoint.
Absolutely.
It's pretty remarkable, actually, the people that are alumni from here. And I know Kim has talked about this often, doing something, to reach out to alumni. And
We're working on it.
And I think it's just a wonderful thing because people are very attached and they have good experiences and they want to do something positive going forward. So it's a win-win. And Jenny's so wonderful to work with. She's fantastic. And Chris as well. So thank you for that. With that, we'll go to the board report. And the legislative updates. So Representative Pope and Theisfeld, and Pope is a Democrat and Theisfeld, if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize, is a Republican, are not running again. And they have, they're not going to seek re-election, and they have the most experience representing K-12. And so both of them are going to be very much missed as representatives because of their knowledge in the K-12 system. And we don't know, or I don't know as of yet, who's going to be taking on that role, but their years of experience was very beneficial to the K-12 system. And I don't know exactly what that will look like moving forward. There's also in our Wisconsin School News, there was some information about suicide prevention. And Tom was going to look into that as to what might be necessary on a board level for suicide prevention efforts. And then that's really all I have legislatively. There was something about, and I wanted to bring this to Jason's attention because we have representatives, student representatives every year. And they had an article about some ways of students to be involved a little differently than what we have in the past. And so I will share that with Jason, but it was a really nice way of getting students even more involved with the board. But that's been, and they're really encouraging student participation in board meetings. And we've been trying to do that for a long time. So I felt pretty good about that. But one example was, what would they change if they were the school board president or district administrator? And so that's a question as you go through the year that a student might have something to say about what they would do differently. So I thought that was a good question. And that's really all I have legislatively. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share on a legislative level? No? All right. VAMs, Kim, you have an update on VAMs?
No, because the meeting is this week because of way the thirds fell.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
They're, no.
You'll have double duty then.
Yep.
We did get an email from the president of VAMs about
Yes.
participating in some classrooms if you wanted to do that. I did reach out to 2 teachers myself today to see if it would still work out with their schedules having me come in. But if that's something of interest to you, he also put the contact information of the staff. And any other questions or discussion? One more time, I'm going to say to John, we wish you only the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you. And with that, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.